All right, guys. Today we've got a game on the map Marketplace, which I think is in the 1v1 map pool at the moment. Of course, there are some differences between this and your kind of standard start in Age of Empires, as we've got, instead of starting with three villagers and a scout, you start off with three villagers and two trade carts, which is kind of weird. And on top of that, there are four markets in the corner of the map. Now, as to whether this will necessarily see any use in this game, I kind of doubt it. Um, Obviously, trade carts are very expensive, and maybe in a really late game, a game that goes on for ages, you might see a player set up their own trade with these kind of neutral markets, but I am relatively cynical of that. However, let's see, go into this game with an open mind, and with that in mind, let's introduce our players. We've got Villese playing in the blue, one of a lot of people might say the most consistent players in Age of Empires 2. He very top tier player. Perhaps not in the shape that he once was. I think if I remember correctly, he has taken a bit of a step back from the pro scene in recent months. However, he is still one of the best players in Age of Empires 2. Generally, I don't know whether he would necessarily still be in the top 10, but I would definitely say in the top 20. And then in the red, we have the Lord playing as the Romans. Obviously, this is kind of an interesting matchup because arguably both are infantry civs. I'm not sure whether we'll necessarily see them both kind of go into infantry. Who knows? But they are also both infantry and kind of cavalry civs with really good siege. So for the Teutons, you have their siege generally is more melee resistant with the unique tech from the castle. Is it Ironclad, I think? They're also quite a defensive civ with three murder holes on their towers and whatnot, and greater garrison capacity. So that's pretty useful. They're also they have a very solid economy with the 40 wood farms. That really good, really top tier, and is so useful in both the late game, but particularly in the early game when you're kind of struggling for that wood income in early feudal. The Teutons economy really kind of comes in clutch there. And then we have the Romans. Again, they've got great siege as well with their... Oh, is that... Nope, the village is going to be fine. It's just about. Um, the siege of the Romans, obviously, with ballistas and their unique tack, which makes their scorpions far faster. The scorpions are also a bit cheaper, I think, and they also a ballistic applies to them. So their scorpions are great. That being said, on paper, I think onagers, which Teutons have, counter scorpions every day of the week. That being said, in terms of infantry matchup, I think that's a bit of a toss-up. They have very similar infantry bonuses, right? Like the +2, the blacksmith upgrades of the Romans for their infantry, the defensive blacksmith upgrades, I mean, they double with their effect. So that kind of counters the the extra melee defense upgrades that the Teutons get. That being said, I feel like in the early game, the Romans' economy is maybe a little bit more versatile, a flat 5% bonus. Whether or not we'll actually kind of see any infantry play, I'm not entirely sure. However, we are seeing both players go up right now. Villese on 18 pop, which to me might suggest scouts. He's not got any villagers on gold yet, at least. And then for DauT, we have, oh my goodness, we have an early barracks. He's already going for some militia. It looks like we're going to have the Romans man-at-arms play. This is quite powerful. However, it is relatively easily countered these days. If you can scout it, if you can wall it out, very little that the man-at-arms can do. Also, it is very expensive in the early game. If you go for 3 or maybe 4 militia, as well as the man-at-arms upgrade, and you're going to need the barracks and the first defense upgrade to really take advantage of the Romans' bonuses. This is kind of difficult to do, and DauT hasn't actually been able to lure all of his deer either. It looks like Villese has managed to scout this as DauT adds a fourth militia, and Villese is already walling up his economy. Is he going to go for a stable? He's got his barracks up in time. I would imagine an archery range might be better. Yeah, okay. It looks like Villese is able to get the archery range down. He's just going to go straight to gold. He hasn't quite got the wood for a mining camp yet, but once he does, if he can wall those builds in, he should be able to deflect these militia relatively easily as DauT gets the man-at-arms upgrade. This doesn't look great for DauT at the moment. He is investing a lot into this. 4 militia, plus the man-at-arms upgrade. Neither player has been able to afford double bit axe yet, which kind of says a lot about how this game is going. But I would suspect that this is going to put Villese in quite a nice position as he is able to start pumping out archers, and once you get 2 archers, man-at-arms generally kind of fall off. I don't know whether DauT is actually going to go for the blacksmith first, or maybe go for an archer range to get skirmishers. I think getting the skirmishers out faster might actually be the play here, because even Roman man-at-arms with the extra defense, they start falling off to archers when they are massed, and it's not like Villese is a bad micro player. He does have the micro to micro down these men-at-arms, as we're about to see here. So the men-at-arms are kind of forced back, and what are we seeing come up for DauT? We're seeing the archer range. I think that is the right play there. A couple of skirmishers to follow up with these man-at-arms, and they could actually do a lot of damage, but for now they're not really accomplishing much. Villese is able to get the blacksmith down, and he should be able to afford flattering relatively soon. His food economy is excellent, so he's not struggling for food like you often find you do it with the kind of faster archer build order, so kudos to him. We have seen both players get double bit axe. DauT seems to have gotten it a little bit later, but I guess you wouldn't know. DauT has better resources collected. I guess that's the Romans bonus kind of kicking in, and fletching coming in for Villese, so that he does not have to worry about these. DauT has got skirmishers, but he doesn't have a blacksmith out yet, and he doesn't have fletching, so I wouldn't be surprised if Villese is even able to out-micro these skirmishers once fletching comes in. Are we about to see that? No, not quite. Okay, yeah, it looks like we are about to see that. DauT kind of in a tricky position here, because obviously he wants to force back his opponent's archers with the skirmishers, but the skirmishers will just die if they don't have fletching, and obviously the armor isn't necessary strictly to push back your opponent's archers, but it does help a lot. The fletching is coming in, so DauT should be able to trade blows with Villese's archers soon, and he does have a decent mass of skirmishers. Ooh, we're seeing the Villese's trade cart being taken out. That is tragic. The spearman thankfully gets away. It is a kind of interesting meta on this map, because you would think that skirms are slightly buffed because there's no starting scout to push them back. Villese has dropped his own stable to produce scouts. But I don't know, I wonder what the kind of meta implications are of not starting with a scout but starting with a trade cart instead. We are. We're seeing DauT has put down a market and he's already trading. Love to see that. I don't know whether that will actually impact anything. And DauT is in a bit of a tricky situation here. He is getting the extra defense for his man-at-arms now, but I don't know if that's worth it. 1 man-at-arms has gone down. The other 2 are on very low health. Only 2 remaining. I think he should cancel that extra defense, to be honest. The skirmishers are going to be taken out by the scouts. The archers are taking out everything else. And I don't feel like DauT is in a great position right now. Ooh. However, that being said, okay, so DauT has sold his stone. It looks like he will be able to get up pretty soon if he can just buy the food. He just needs to hold. He does have +2 defense on his spearman now, so he should be able to deal with the scouts if he can just keep his skirmishers alive to deal with the archers. This is a tricky situation for DauT, but let's bear in mind that the military numbers are very similar, and DauT only has, a couple of seconds of idle TC time. Okay, it's kind of rocking up as I point it out, but he is very close. Okay, yeah, DauT is idling to go up to Castle Age. That was intentional, not accidental, and he has now clicked up. So that's really good for DauT. However, Villese is able to click up in a very similar point, and he also didn't have to use the market to do that. So I think the Villese is playing a little bit better here. I wonder how much resources these trade carts have actually kind of accumulated for that. I don't think that that's actually enough to justify not only putting up a market a bit earlier, but also putting the market all the way in the corner with a villager with all that idle time on the way walking there and back. But, who knows? I'm just a pleb after all. So DauT getting the +1 for his melee units. I wonder, he's got the infantry armor. Is he going to go for infantry? We're seeing another barracks come up. I think we're seeing a longswords play from DauT. He's already queued more man-at-arms. Love to see it. We're seeing a bit more of a traditional style of play from Villese. He is getting, continuing to produce a couple of scouts, a couple of archers, just to keep the pressure on for now. As he builds his second stable, he is getting bloodlines, so he is going for the classic Teutons Knights. In theory, longswords backed by a couple of spearmen, with the +4 that the Romans do get in Castle Age, that should counter knights pretty well. I don't know how well that will actually work in practice. Obviously, you need the numbers to do that. You need, ideally, around 3 barracks if your opponent's going for 2 stables. But who knows? Maybe the Lord can make something happen. Castle Age comes in for DauT. He goes for longswords. He goes for the chainmail armor. And Villese queues up 4 knights immediately. He also goes for a monastery. I think that's a pretty decent play. To be honest, generally when you see mass longswords, if a player goes knights stops it dead in its tracks. So I don't think that this is necessarily the best play from DauT, but who knows? He could find a hole here maybe. Is there a hole between one of these buildings? We are seeing... Oh my goodness, there is a hole! Oh no! Okay, looks like DauT might be able to get maybe a villager kill or 2. 3 knights from Villese with another on the way and a couple of archers. The town centre arrows just pinging off the longswords, just no real damage there. I don't know whether the longswords seem to be trading relatively well here. Although it doesn't look like any knights are going down. Okay, 1 knight has gone down. Villese microed back 2 more knights really effectively. That's so good from Villese. And all of DauT's army goes down. So I don't think that would necessarily be the worst trade if DauT was able to kill those other 2 knights. But with the monastery there, Villese is just healing up these knights. He's killed what, like, I don't know, 6 or maybe even 8 longswords and spearmen. And he lost 1 knight. That's nuts. What a play by Villese. DauT is getting the a second town centre up and even a third town centre. It does look like Villese has been able to use his remaining scouts to... Did DauT lose a trade cart, or has he... he's got 3 trade cards out now. Has he been producing more trade cards? I wasn't able to keep up there. I'll have to watch that back later. But maybe Villese might have caused some extra kind of damage there on the very early trade from DauT. I'm still think that's a highly questionable decision, but who am I to question the Lord? Okay. So both players starting to kind of go into a bit of a boom, with Villese going on 3 town centres, only just putting down his 3rd. And Villese is also going for a bit of earlier kind of raiding here on DauT's economy. These farms are really exposed, so this is quite nice for Villese. Also bearing in mind, DauT only has, doesn't have a massive food eco, so idling 4 or 5 farms here could actually be quite impactful, particularly when he's got 3 town centres, but he's also got 2 barracks. You're not able to produce from 3 town centres and 2 barracks unless you have a pretty substantial food economy. Whereas using the monks to try and push back these barracks units over here, and I think that's a really cool play. It's quite interesting to see how this works out, because obviously I think in theory longsword pike, particularly Roman longswords and pikes, do counter the knight mass, but backed by monks, they're also Teutons knights, so they do get the free +1. And there's quite a lot of knights here. I don't think DauT has the military to deal with this. DauT has got a monastery of his own, but obviously these are Teuton knights, so they're not going to be converted easily. And I feel like this is quite a tricky situation for DauT now. It might snowball a little bit. Villese continuing to kind of prod DauT with the conversions from his monks, as the DauT must be hearing the continuous alarm of the monks wallowing at his units. Okay, is DauT able to get a conversion from... No, not quite. He does manage to pick off 1 or 2 scouts, but I don't think this is the play. Villese converting 2 longswords there. He has lost a couple of his scouts, but I just don't think that's worth it. And this is going... I don't have a good feeling about this for the Lord. He doesn't have the military to take on these knights, and even though he has the Romans infantry with the extra defense, the knights are still better one-on-one than longswords, and as I say that, Villese loses a couple more knights over here, but I still think this is looking pretty good for Villese. More conversions coming in, and he'll be able to heal these up. Obviously, this isn't a massive force, but it is annoying to deal with, and Villese is continuing to just be annoying with this kind of forward force over here. As we say this, the Lord is putting... Is that like a forward TC over here? I'm not entirely sure why he's put it there. I guess he can't build it here because he's got buildings. He can't build it here because of the hill. I don't think that's a great TC. That's begging for like a forward siege workshop or even like a castle on it later in the game or something, but who knows how the game will play out. We're seeing more barracks dropped by DauT as he's drops his 4th barracks. It's actually his 5th if you include the one that was destroyed here earlier. Villagers going down for DauT, but he does have the villager lead. He also has more resources collected. Obviously that's mainly because of his thriving trade economy over here. But it does look like DauT is dealing quite well with the pressure. However, the kill-death ratio is just massing for Villese, and Villese has killed a lot more villagers than his opponent has. And again, whilst the pikes, I guess they in theory do counter the knights, they're just not doing enough damage to the monks, I guess, and they keep on getting converted. The longswords that Villese had converted earlier are still there, and Villese has even put 2 forward villagers to add 2 siege workshops to add scorpions to the mix, which is really gonna, even though really counter these Roman pikes, even though they have the extra defense that the Romans get access to. This isn't looking super pretty for DauT, but maybe he'll be able to pull it back. We are starting to see resources bank a little bit for Villese, so I kind of wonder whether Imperial is in the back of his mind. He's got a crazy amount of food right now. No, not food, gold. So he should really... he could probably buy his way up if he wanted to. That being said, he also seems to have gotten a couple of relics. He's got 2 relics down, which is really nice for the long game. Probably a little bit better than 3 trade carts, or 5 trade carts. That continues to add the trade carts. Love to see it. We are continuing to see the conversions come in for DauT, for Villese rather. And the Scorpions are forcing back these pikes and idling quite a large part of DauT's economy, particularly his food economy, which is like you can't produce out of 4 barracks if you don't have a good food economy. It's just not quite there for the Lord at the moment. He's only got 33 villagers on farms. Kind of difficult to see how he produces out of 4 town centres and 4 barracks simultaneously with only, I mean, I say only 33, that's still a lot, but it's not enough to support all of this. The Manga now comes out, kills 1 one scorpion. Obviously, you want to kill more than one scorpion with a mangonel, and only one scorpion it is. However, Villese is losing most of his knights now, so maybe DauT can push back Vilese's forces. The scorpions are going down to pikes, which is really good. More conversions coming in for Villese though, my goodness, this is so messy, and I feel like I've been focused on this area for like the past, I don't know, 10 minutes. And kind of ignoring the fact that Vilese's economy is looking pretty beautiful behind this. What just shows his macro is pretty nuts. Is DauT going to be able to rebuild that scorpion? Not quite. The monks are going down though, and it does look like DauT is able to clear this up as... Oh my goodness, okay. So I didn't even notice that Villese has clicked up to Imperial. He's putting the pressure on DauT with a forward castle over here. DauT tried to get a defensive castle, which was cancelled by DauT. This TC is definitely going to go down with a mangonel and a battering ram behind it, and it looks like DauT is going to have to abandon this part of his economy. The pikes rush forward to defend, but when your opponent is up to Imperial and is taking in 2 longswords, pikes aren't going to be the defense here. So it looks like we're going to see some infantry on infantry play here. Absolutely love to see it. Gambeson's coming in, the extra defense coming in, and of course the Teutons do get more defense. I think it's +1 in castle and +1 Imperial, +2 in yeah, +1 in castle and then another +1 in Imperial. I think I'm right in saying that. I'll have to double check. But the Teutons champions are nothing to be sniffed at, and this is just a really bad situation with DauT now. Like, he's got 21 pikes, but it's not like his opponent continuing to make knights. That being said, Villese doesn't really have any longswords out. He's got 1 at the moment, so he's really kind of struggling to get that military out right now. And this does kind of take the wind out of the sails of Vilese's push. The Lord is just clicking up himself right now. We are seeing Trebs come out, so that castle won't be long for this world. And DauT continues to have a thriving trade economy in the back of his base, but this isn't looking great for DauT. We'll see if he can recover here. Another forward castle from Villese to really kind of push the issue. Chemistry coming in, I think that's a great shout from Villese. Generally, the Romans struggle against hand cannons, and particularly when, yeah, they might have scorpions, but it's such an easy tech switch for the Teutons to just go into mangonels. The pikes seem to be diving these mangonels and the castle, but I don't think this is going to end well for the pikes, as obviously Villese already has quite a few two-handed swordsmen with the armor upgrades. Oh my goodness, and they're completely pushed back there. Most of DauT's military lies dead and decaying over here as the trebuchets hammer away at DauT's only castle. This isn't looking good for the Lord. However, he's got a couple of Centurions out. Maybe he can hold the line here. Centurions are a great unit. They're one of my favourite units in the game. Are they going to be able to push back here? They are kind of lacking the kind of defensive upgrades and bloodline, so maybe not. Looks like this is a very close, small engagement over here. The castle from DauT has gone down. He is able to push back Vilese's army for now, and he has clicked up the Imperial. He's putting down more barracks. He's got another castle up here, as Villese is raiding with two-handed swordsmen. He's got a forward barracks over here. He's gonna see DauT's thriving trade economy, but he is going to steal that relic as well. My goodness, this is not looking great for the Lord. Is he able to pull it back with Legion? Oh, did he cancel Legionary? Okay, Legionary is coming in. Okay, and that's pretty good for the Lord. Maybe he'll be able to stabilize here. Villese is continuing to make champions, but due to Legionary being only 1 upgrade, DauT should be able to stabilize a little bit here, and Legionaries are better than generic champions. I was about to say vanilla champions, but yeah, generic champions. And I don't know how Legionaries fare against Teutons champions with the extra armor that they get. This is one of those kind of unique scenarios that you don't see too often. Who knows? We are seeing are these. Oh, I thought that Villese would be adding archer rangers behind this because he does have chemistry. I think that's probably the play here. That is getting the upgrades that he needs. It would be nice to see the unique tech come in for the charge attack for the Legionaries as well, but I don't think it's strictly necessary here. Now that DauT has Legionary, we're going to see the kind of clash of 18 to 15 Legionaries, 18 champions to 15 Legionaries. Who is going to come out on top here? I'm not quite sure. This is just a combo that you don't see too often. It looks like the Legionaries are doing work here. This is pretty nuts. I didn't expect this to happen. I thought that the Teutonic champions would be a little bit better with the extra armor. Looks like the trebuchets from Villese are going to be forced back, and that has a small force to deal with the barracks in the back of his base. The castle kind of safeguards this flank a little bit, so that's really nice. Villese has got 3 relics, which is so his gold economy is going to be looking pretty good, and Vilese's economy is looking pretty solid at the moment with 54 farmers, 18 on gold. He can spam champions and hand cannoneers now for a very long time indeed. However, we mustn't discount the trade economy of DauT, and Villese is raiding very slowly with 1 champion, which can't quite keep up with the trade cart. The hand cannons are there, and hand cannons are going to be the real problem that DauT has to face now. Obviously, he could check it into cavalry, which would probably deal relatively well with the hand cannons, but it's not like the Teutons don't have good cavalry options of their own. They also have the monks, obviously, which should be able to convert any cavalier. I think perhaps mixing in scorpions and light cav might be the play here for DauT, but it's pretty difficult to see how he deals with the hand cannons, as Villese seems to be going for forward guard towers coming in, and this looks like Villese is very slowly but surely kind of suffocating DauT and not giving him that much room for his economy, and even driving these villagers back from I don't even know where those villagers were. I assume this gold pile over here, but only 3 champions have caused the entirety of DauT's military to respond, and Villese just has a much better military composition, but he also has the numbers. 24 hand cannons is all he needs to really kind of shut down most of DauT's military, and he also has the champions to back that up, and guard towers. This is a very slow but sure push, and I just can't see the Lord responding to this in time. DauT does have Trebs himself to deal with Villese, those of Villese. It doesn't look good though. The Trebs are going down, hand cannons behind. DauT's Legionaries are kind of coming in now, but I just don't think that that's going to end well. The hand cannons absolutely body any form of infantry, and there you go, there's the GG. I felt like that was a very intense game from quite an early point where I was just kind of focusing in this area, and then suddenly Villese was able to snowball his kind of economy advantage into an earlier imp and then utilize the perhaps more versatile tech tree of the Teutons there to win him the game. However, it's not every day that you get to see, I don't even know how many militia line units that was, but a lot of legionaries, a lot of champions, always love to see it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that game, and if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe to support the channel. All right, see you around.